my name is Shiva and this is my father Ken Santranto, and today we're going to be doing a community heaven story on heaven stories. So, the heaven story of heaven stories, I guess. Go ahead, ask your questions, I will answer them as best as I can.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure if I should start with simple, basic questions or the high questions. I think I start with the high questions.
Alrighty.
How is it that you can read heaven stories?
Well, I mean,
Did you receive training?
No!
So why can you read these heaven stories?
Basically, we were doing a gawigata, and we were trying to find where I was supposed to go with my life in my path, and we used walnuts and chestnuts as little euphemisms for different parts of the life. So we made a line of them. That was my path, and we'd crack them open, and we'd see what was inside. And when we went through, we realized that after we were done, there was one more that we hadn't seen. And he'd been hiding, and we were like, okay. So we cracked it open, and it was really old and withered looking, even though the outer shell was perfectly fine. And this guy, this nut, told me a story, which was my own personal heaven story. Unfortunately, we didn't record it, because it was a really good one. But
You were surprised.
yeah, but we were so surprised, and there was really a beautiful heaven story, definitely on the level of quality I do now. And my dad asked me later if he thought I could do that for other people, and that's kind of where it came in, and I realized I possessed this skill. And I learned that through an old withered walnut. I'm not even kidding. He was my mentor. He was my Yoda. And I guess we did a lot of practice heaven stories. We read a lot of people for free so that we could practice. And I tell you, the first ones I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. Like, they weren't really spiritual. They were more just me analyzing a person's life based on not knowing anything about their childhood. But through time, I kind of came to understand heaven stories, and I kind of came to realize that I could read them, and it's just a part of my job. It's like everybody has a special job that only they can do, or that's a niche for them. It's my niche. It's my specific way of being and of living my best self, although it's only one of many things I can do.
Okay, so you have read over 80 heaven stories now.
Holy moly.
Yes. We had many different types of heaven stories. Some were like a consultation. Hey, stop doing this, start doing that. Some were actual stories. You know, really like the story of a little boy growing up in a village, finding a funky bird or something. Yeah,
Funky bird.
Why do the heaven stories have such different forms?
Well, heaven stories are kind of like the people they're being read about. Each of them is unique to that person, which means whatever that person needs to hear, not wants. Heaven stories literally could not care less what you want. They only tell me what that person needs to hear. That's why they're often so different. Like, if someone needs a consultation, that's what they're going to get. If someone needs a beautiful story as a metaphor, like Aesop's fables, obviously that all have a moral and ties into that person, or is a past incarnation of that person, that's what's going to come. It really depends on what that person needs to hear at that time. And if they came to me at a different time in their life, it may have been something completely different, but it really depends on who they are in that moment.
So, when I want to get my heaven story, should I have expectations? Because I think some people, they expect, okay, now I'm going to learn about my past incarnations, I'm going to learn about the quality of my soul, the name of my soul, where I'm from, so what do you do when you have these expectations? Should you get a heaven story?
Okay, here's what I have to say. If you are getting a heaven story, there is one expectation you should have. It's most likely going to be utterly brutal or very beautiful. Or both. It's the only expectations you can have. I can't guarantee you a spiritual name, a past story, some dramatic realization about that you've been doing your life all wrong and that you have to change everything and go vegan or something. I'm sorry, it just came to my head. And that, you're gonna get a really nice, happy story, because some of the stories I've read have been very sad and depressing, and you have no hope and your life sucks, you need to change right now. Really, again, the only expectation is it's probably gonna be brutal or it's going to be beautiful, or it's going to be both. There's no in between, really. I've read heaven stories that are really like, you have nothing in your soul, or you may die if you don't fix this, or I've read stories where, look at this beautiful being that you are, and look at what wonderful things you've done, and it only goes up from here. So all those expectations that you have, throw them away, right now.
Okay, so...
You will be very disappointed.
How can I prepare for a heaven story?
Because heaven stories are so unfiltered, they can often hurt people's feelings, which is why what I suggest is to definitely maybe meditate or pray or, I don't know, light some incense, whatever you do to find peace of mind and calmness and kind of face it head on. Because if you get that heaven story and you're emotional, or you're in a really bad spot in your life and you're just really weak and you're about to crumble, I wouldn't suggest getting one, because it may just be the final straw and it can hurt a lot. So do whatever you need to do to find peace of mind and to just go with it in a calm way and to be completely prepared for whatever brutal truth I am going to be putting on you.
When I have received my heaven story, how can I get the most value out of it?
Point being, a lot of people were very confused, were very hurt, and were very, they came to me and they're like, what are you talking about? This can't be true. There's no way. Why would the heaven story come to me like this? They were very confused. They didn't know where to go with themselves, and I can understand that, but the point is that the best way you can get value out of it is, again, from my previous thing, is to calm yourself and to just be ready to receive whatever comes, because you shouldn't have any expectations other than it's probably going to be very brutal and very painful, or it's going to be very enlightening. You're going to love it or you're going to hate it. Either actually take the information, do something with it. And if you don't believe that it applies directly to your life, look inside yourself, because there's definitely an aspect of you where that heaven story perfectly applies. I don't read heaven stories that don't apply to that person. That just isn't something that happens. So take the information and listen to it. Take my advice and do something about it. Because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you what you need to hear, however blind you may be to it. Simple as that.
Okay, so these were my questions. Except for this one, is there anything else you want to say to people who are maybe thinking about getting a heaven story, or also to people who already have received the heaven story?
Well, something has definitely fundamentally changed from 2016, and two things, because in 2016 we were just starting heaven stories. I did not know what I was doing. I had no idea what heaven stories actually were. I was just starting out and learning and understanding. So there are definitely some fundamental things that have changed as I've become more connected with heaven stories and have made them more my own. Not just basically a reading of your soul, but also an analyzation of who you are and what you need to do. Not just, because again, a lot of my old stories were just, well, exactly that. They were stories. They were telling you what your soul was, but anybody can learn to do that with enough practice. So through time, they've become me. And I'd say if you want to get a heaven story, really think about it. Are you ready to have something poured on you? Sometimes I pick apart a person and say they're not at all who they are. Sometimes I say your whole life is a lie, or you have tons of karma, or you could die even. Like, I've had a couple heaven stories like that, and they've even shocked me, because I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth next. I'm just talking, and whatever the divine is telling me, it's coming out of my mouth. So you and I are both in the dark until I've finished reading it. So, again, what I can say, you have to be prepared for that. You have to be emotionally stable enough, truly, to handle that, because it's very intense, a lot of times. But if you do, a couple years down the road, feel like you've changed enough or you've developed enough as a person, you could purchase a second heaven story. And that's not because I want more money or business or...
Oh, it has changed.
That has changed.
You said there's just one.
Yeah, but that was before they were really me, and I'm saying now, not because I want money or greedy, I really couldn't care less about that, and most of it's going in a college fund anyway, so... Truth is, I'm saying that because it's true. The truth that you can get a second heaven story, but I wouldn't suggest getting one in the time space of the same month. I guess that was kind of where I was at that time. Now I can truly say, if you changed a lot as a person in the time space of a year or like 6, 7, 8 months, and you really think that something has changed or you really are stuck and you don't know where else to go, you could definitely, if you have the money, purchase a second heaven story, even just to get a directional idea of what the heck am I supposed to do right now? Is there anywhere for me to go? What's going wrong? Why is everything falling apart? You know, any of that, really. Again, if you've already purchased one, you've changed enough, or you've developed, or your energy has completely exploded and bounced everywhere, or, again, you're at a really low point in your life and you don't know how to get out of there, you could, again, purchase a second heaven story, and that would be okay. Still, remember, be calm when you listen to them. If you're very distraught when we send it to you, don't listen to it right away. Find a calm state of mind first.
Okay, final question. What do people do that want a heaven story? How can they order one?
And here comes the generic stuff that I've been taught to say. You can email him at canstandturner@gmail.com or contact him on Facebook or any of that. None of my emails will be used to contact Heaven Stories because this guy is my manager, so it's all up to him. If you want a Heaven Story, contact him, ask him about the price, ask him any questions. He'll be happy to answer. He's very helpful and very eloquent and fluent in English and German, so hooray for us. And again, contact him. I'm just the talent. He's the nitty gritty. He's the one who films, edits, and sends the videos out. So also I would like to say a big thank you for everything you do. This is why you're always on the couch with me, because you have such a big part. You're not just the one behind the camera, you're also the one asking me questions and providing general support. So again, email him, ask him. He's the one who is going to be providing all that for us, and he'll be telling you everything you need to know again. Anyway, I'd also like to say Happy New Year, Happy late New Year.
Happy New Year, thanks a lot for these enlightening things you said. And see you soon.
Goodbye! Hopefully this will be a great year with fantastic heaven stories and general well-development in the Agni tradition.
I'm sure it will.